The Josh Dobbs performance, obviously we've talked about it a few different times on this show, but I want to kind of dig deeper and maybe take it a little bit wider than we have so far with some specific elements to it. Just first and foremost, though, you broke this down on your YouTube channel. You rewatched the game. I'm just curious, baseline level, what is the most impressive thing in your mind that you saw from him on Sunday as you think about the context of everything he had to go through?
The fact that he was able to get one completion. Like, I'm going to be completely honest. Like you, it is so hard to put into words what he was able to do, not only from the fact that he was with the Arizona Cardinals 5 days before, and he had just had a 3-touchdown performance, and then ends up leading a game-winning drive and having a 3-touchdown performance, 6 touchdowns in 2 weeks for 2 teams, like at the most important position in all of sports. Okay. So, I mean, he is a rocket scientist. Let's just be real with that. Like, I saw the NASA shout out that NASA gave him. I'm like, that's so cool. Like, NASA's giving a shout out on Twitter for what he's doing. But I just love the fact, like, it could have gone really, really bad. Okay. Because the first 15 to 18 snaps he was in, it was a sack for a safety, Calais Campbell on a 3-man rush, and 2 separate fumbles. And on those fumbles, I will say he's trying to get the ball out. One of them, his right tackle causes it, and the other one, he's trying to throw it, and the guy strips him right there. But those are 2 turnovers and a safety on your side of the field. So you could have mentally just been like, man, like, blow up, like, I can't handle it, like, no way. But it's just funny how sort of the team rallied together and how everyone rallied around him. And the fact that he was able to do what he did on 5 days. I mean, he didn't take a rep. He didn't take a rep in practice. So it's mind-blowing to me that he was able even to operate.
I was so impressed just with everything that was happening on the sideline, watching him and Kevin O'Connell, even in real time, when he'd come off and they'd be going through certain details about his drop and where he should be looking. And it's just so fun to watch a level of intentional coaching like that in real time, where you just see what really separates the guys who are so good at understanding the communication aspect of it, what he should be kind of communicating to his quarterback, how you articulate some of those ideas. It was so cool to watch. And one of the elements that I was just most blown away by is that later in the game, they had to use tempo. Yeah. Like, he's running the no huddle offense for stretches of this game without having any baseline knowledge, not only of how the no huddle works, but of how the offense works in general. Yeah. So I wanted to kind of take this a little bit wider and talk about some of the mechanics associated with tempo in the NFL. To me, it's been one of the bigger kind of underserved storylines in the entire league so far this year, is how teams have tapped into it really to find offense during a season where offense has been hard to find. Yes. I used the Buffalo Bills on Thursday night against the Bucs as a really good example, where they're just working at the line of scrimmage. They're going fast. These Vikings against San Francisco on that Monday night game, where playing from the line of scrimmage really helped them. And so I wanted to talk about just how the mechanics of that aspect of the game works. How do tempo offenses work just in terms of the mechanics and just the steps that go into it? I'm sure it's different for individual teams, but just on a general level, just walk me through how this works.
Well, I think there's 3 different types of tempo. And let's just start with just one word code word plays, I guess you would say. So say, hey, banana. We used to have that. It was like K4, why banana? It was the John Gruden one in New Orleans. Hey, banana. And it would be like that word. You probably have 6 or 7, depending on the week, of like, hey, bandana, banana, special, center, like all sorts of different words. And it can change every week. And the quarterback's just yelling it out. And you just want to go as fast as humanly possible. And it's not because they're doing it. It's usually good versus all plays. And you're just trying to catch them off guard. Usually it's like, hey, the offensive coordinator or the play caller will like call it into my ear or the quarterback's ear and say, hey, here's the play on first down. We're going to go banana second down. Like, don't even like, so you get 2 calls and you're alerting the huddle. Hey, look, guys, we practice it. We're going Y stick nod, X out right here. And then on the ball, get on the ball. Okay. And we're going to run banana. So that's sort of how it's into the year. And then you get up to the line, you run the Y stick X out, Y stick nod X out, and then you're on the ball, just banana. And it's a formation. It's a play call. it's a personnel grouping, it is a protection all in one. So that word banana stands for literally everything everyone on there on the field knows. And they can do it from like multiple personnel groupings. So that's the best thing about it. You can do it from 12, 11, 22, 13. And that's something that teams would practice. And we would practice every week is like, all right, like it's easy to run a play out of 11 personnel, but let's see how we do it out of 22 personnel. 2 backs, 2 tight ends, and those backs are going to maybe have to line up at receiver based on the formation. So if that makes sense, if you're following me, and then you go up there and you try to run it, and there's no anything about it. It's just like, hey, let's just tempo into second down. And then another thing on that tempo into second down is that you can also have these plays on third down. And that's where I've had a lot of success, whether it be the Matt Nagy offense or the Andy Reid offense or Joe Lombardi offense. And that can be a little bit more extensive. And you usually use those code words when you want to tempo into third down when a team has a really exotic blitz package. Like I would take the Baltimore Ravens, for example, or the Minnesota Vikings back in their heyday, or even they're the most blitzing team. Let's just say Minnesota Vikings today. It might keep them out of their insanely crazy pressure package. So if you get the team in base defense on second down and you're in 12 personnel, and I'm playing the Minnesota Vikings, I'm damn sure probably going to tempo into third down to keep them out of this exotic pressure package, to keep this out of the quarterback wondering what's happening so fast and having to remike it, because it keeps their base defense on the field. And out of base defense, Minnesota is not that. They're going to bring 5. That's it. That's all they're doing. And so you can gain advantages by doing that on third down. Okay. The second one is a 2-minute. Like hey, we're in 2-minute mode right here. All right. So you're in 2-minute mode, and everyone on the entire team knows, hey, we have a menu of 8 2x2 passes and 8 trips packages. So 2x2 formation, 3x1 formation. Here's the plays, and you learn it from OTAs on. And so it's like literally special. It's the same thing. Okay.
It's the same menu of plays. It's the same vocabulary.
It's different. I'd say it's different because week to week, the first ones, when I was saying like banana, those can change week to week. I would say your 2-minute package and tempo, those are your plays for the entire year, and you're rolling and you're running it. And that's the exact same thing. Now, the quarterback might have to tell the O-line, hey, trips. Okay, hey, we want 3-jet protection. The protection can change. The personnel changes, whereas the one-word tempo on maybe first down, those don't change. It's just like, is what it is. That's all you say. And so the 2-minute drill, if teams don't have those one-word code tempos, some people just like to be like, hey, let's just get – like we're slow on offense. We've had 3 punts in a row. And I think Josh Allen honestly operates better out of the 2-minute tempo, which they have used. Because a lot of times when you're operating like that, and you're pushing a defense to get set, they're probably not going to do these crazy coverages and blitzes as well. So you're going to get more cover 2, cover 4, cover 3, man. And a lot of these are just good versus all. And if it's not, and you have 4 verticals versus cover 2, which really is not the best, or let's just say 4 verticals versus cover 4, and you just check the ball down, and you're playing faster, and it allows your quarterback really not to think, because he knows it in the back of his head, like the back of his palm. Like it's just because you've practiced it all of OTAs, if that makes sense. And then the third one, I'm sure you weren't ready for this long-winded answer, but I came prepared.
Listen, you can go as long as you want to.
And
I'm loving this.
The third one is what I thought was, and I'm going to make a YouTube video of this because I thought this was like clinic tape from Kevin O'Connell and the Minnesota Vikings against San Francisco 49ers. I thought what they did at the line of scrimmage really changed the game for that game against San Fran. And what they did was, hey, we called it like sunglasses or goggles. Just like take a look, line up in 3x1 or 2x2. Ready, blue 80, blue, hot. Okay, what are they in? KOC, get in my head. Okay. Hey, let's go. Bingo. And so you're actually saying what is the best play at the best time versus the defense that they had, if that makes sense. And I'm telling you, the Minnesota Vikings, he operated at the line of scrimmage, Kirk Cousins did, more than I have ever seen him do it. And it was an amazing plan. And finally, not until the fourth quarter, finally San Fran decided, hey, you know what? When they check, we're going to check. So then things weren't open in the fourth quarter, and that's sort of when it got a little close. They finally made a change. So those are the three types of tempo that I've been around that can really affect the way the defense is playing. I need a drink of water now.
It's so fascinating because we've gotten to this place, if you look at kind of the landscape of the league, where defenses, it's a lot of just shell-based coverages. You line it up in a cover 4 look, it can express as anything. So the offenses need all-purpose plays, but also you have very few answers before the snap even happens. There's so many different ways the defense can distribute. It's hard to understand exactly what you're going to get. So how do you find ways to simplify those looks or give yourself more information? You can dictate it with personnel a little bit, and teams try to do that, but doing this with tempo by either one, keeping their personnel grouping on the field that you want on the field, two, keeping them simple because, like you said, they can't get into some of these more exotic looks, and three, you can get into the best play for the best look because you have a little bit more information. So this just feels like one tool, one weapon as defenses have risen to meet offenses that kind of give offenses a chance to have the pen last and continue to try to dictate to some of these defenses where it's become more difficult.
Yeah, and you hit it right on. That's exactly right. That's a little bit easier than what I said to understand and to.
You got the details. I got the dumbed down version. I'm ready.
Yeah, but the dumbed down version is really good too, because I would say that's 100% correct, because I would say defenses nowadays, and it's been like the lowest points per game through week 9 in like the last 20 years. Like it's like the year of the defense is what I like to say. Like it's wild. Okay, and I would say I don't necessarily think offenses have changed. I just think defenses has morphed into something that maybe helps them a little bit more, if that makes sense. Like they're able to understand how offenses are working a little bit better. And now offenses are having to go back to the drawing board a little bit. And you're seeing it more and more. Like I'm telling you, if you haven't watched the all 22 of that Minnesota Vikings performance against San Fran, I was impressed. Like it is truly like that is how you end up blitzing a defense. When defenses would say we're playing really well, San Fran was at the time on defense. Last 3 games, not so hot, but they've been playing really well. And then the way Minnesota was able to understand what they're doing to simplify it, but also to get like cover 3 beaters or this way of cover 4 beaters after like a play call had already been in and put a lot on Kirk's like plate. That to me was really, really good offensive football.
To me, that feels like an example of how important it is for a quarterback to be in a system multiple years. Because now that he's in year 2, halfway into his second season within that offense, you can start to build on the layers. That's just something you would never be able to do 2 weeks into your first season, but a year into it with an entire offseason to kind of digest what you want to be and who you are. That is a very good example of that to me.
Yeah. But I also think, like, you look at Josh Dobbs, he was in it for 5 days. And that's what's the crazy thing about it is that he was still doing that in the second half, but it was a little bit different. And it was the way he operated was, hey, get to the huddle, hut. And then he goes back and you can see it clear as day. And he's just sort of looking, he's listening to KOC in his ear. Okay. And KOC is like, hey, we got an out and a go on your left. He's literally telling him out, go. And on your right, it's an out and a hitch. Work this side versus cover 2, work this side versus. He's literally telling them all that in 15 seconds. I mean, almost every play. That's literally what Dobbs and KOC said. Mind blown, like amazing coaching job by KOC. And that's why KOC said at the end of the game, he's like, I will remember this win for the rest of my life. Like it's incredible. It was mind blowing. It is incredible. Like people literally like, and I'm trying to like, why is national media not like literally like salivating over this? And I saw a couple good articles on it, but like, it's just the way to operate. I can't even imagine being thrust in that situation.
I mean, we've already had a 15-minute long Josh Dobbs conversation on this show 3 or 4 weeks ago with what he was doing in Arizona and how he was redefining his career. And then you have this, which is, it's one of the moments I'll remember from this season.
Yes.
You know, you do this long enough, and I think this is probably my 10th, 11th year covering the NFL full time. And it's a lot of stuff runs together and you kind of get into the rhythms of it. The inertia can take over every once in a while, but each year things stick out. Things kind of grab you by the shirt collar. It's like, this is what you're going to remember from this year. And that game that Josh Dobbs had and all the stories about just how they were doing this, like what practically it looked like in real time, it was an incredible moment.